Hi, this is Mark Phillips with Real Talk on Real Estate. In today's video, we're going to talk about the home buying process from a 50,000 foot level. We're going to go over the general steps from a high level, not in a whole lot of detail, but just so that you get a feeling of what the process is for actually buying a home. When we come back, the home buying process. Hey, welcome back to Real Talk and Real Estate with Mark Phillips. What's it take to buy a home? Obviously, some money, that would help. And there's several other things. Good credit, a great realtor, a home that you really want to have. So there's a lot of things that go into it. The first step is not a really big mystery. You need a great agent like me to guide you through the process. We've been through it enough that we know all the pitfalls that can come up and bite you. It's a very complicated process from the outside, but from an agent standpoint, we've been through it enough that we really know where all of the snags are that's going to jump up and bite you. It's not as I said, it's not a mystery. A lot of people, they consider buying a home when they're actually currently renting. Did you know that if you paid, say, $1,500 a month for rent, that in 1 year period of time, you'd be spending $18,000 on that rent? And if you're renting a house or an apartment, it's going into the landlord's pocket. You get zero zip, nada, nothing equity. You get none of that back in return. If you were to save that, have that same $1,500 a month payment, and you stayed in there for 5 years, that's $90,000 that is gone, all right? You get nothing in return other than a roof over your head and somebody to pay the rent to. So there's a big incentive from a financial standpoint, if you're financially ready to actually buy a home and capitalize on putting that money in your own pocket, in your own home. You get equity. You obviously your net worth increases tremendously because now you have an asset. You have a physical asset versus a bank account. Typically, homes are going to appreciate in value, so it's a very good thing to invest if you're ready. It's a very good thing to invest in a home versus renting a home. For first-time home buyers, there's some special programs out there that you can get into. That you can get into for as little as 3% down. All right, that's pretty special. The government sets those up so that they incentivize people to buy home to start building wealth. If you've already owned a home in the past, you can't qualify for that first-time home buyer program. So for you, somebody who's owned a home before, the minimum that you would need down on that, down payment-wise, is 5%. You can obviously pay more than that. And if you have the cash available, you can save a substantial amount of money by paying 80% down, not 80% down, excuse me, 20% down, so you get the loan to value ratio at 80% or less. With that, you don't pay private mortgage insurance, which can be several $100s a month. So that's always a good thing if you have the cash. If you don't have the cash and you put down conventional 5%, 10% down, you monitor your loan to value ratio to the point that once you get the loan paid down to 80% of the value of the home, you can then petition the mortgage company to take off the private mortgage insurance, which will save you money in the long run. Like I said, it could be several $100s a month. First thing you want to do when you get ready to buy is you want to find a great lender. A lot of people are, would like to go with their current banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, any of those, Chase. Those are all good. Issues with some of the larger banks, they have a big bureaucracy and underwriting departments that are fairly deep. So the loan officer that you're dealing with does not necessarily get to talk to directly with the underwriting person who basically guarantees your loan. They look at all your paperwork, income statements, tax returns, everything else to make sure that if they do give you the loan, their money is protected. Smaller individual institutions that are mortgage lenders typically are a little more flexible than the big banks. They're more agile. They can pull loans faster. Their claims or their underwriting department is literally next door to them, so they've got the ability to talk firsthand with the underwriter to find out what's happening with your file. Most lenders you can get pre-qualified for with a credit score of at least 580. Obviously, the better the credit score, the lower your interest rate that you're going to pay. If your credit score is 740 and above, you will never get a lower interest rate on a home mortgage. So the goal is to shoot for 740. You can still get a loan with a great interest rate for less than with your credit score being less than 740. There's a difference between being pre-qualified for a loan and pre-approved. Pre-qualified is the 50,000 foot level. They look over your tax returns, your income statements, bank accounts, investments, any other assets that you have, and say, yes, the loan, their debt to income ratio is at the right stage that you can afford to buy a home. Pre-approved, on the other hand, is you're pre-approved by that lender, whether it be a big bank or a private mortgage lender, for that specific amount of money that you are getting, say $350,000. When you get pre-approved, the person we're going to submit the offer to knows that based on that lender, you are pre-approved and you are qualified for a loan up to that amount. When it comes time to submitting an offer, I can't submit an offer for you without that pre-approval letter. Or if in the lucky chance that you're paying cash, I need proof of funds of some type. So it's per the Arizona state contract or real estate contract that I must submit proof of funds or a loan contingency letter that says that you are being pre-qualified or pre-approved for that loan. Next thing, once you get that letter of pre-approval or pre-qualification, we can start looking for a home. You talk to me, your agent, and we find out what your needs are versus your wants. Your needs would be, I have 3 kids and I need 4 bedrooms. I have 1 child that is disabled and I need a single level home. We can't do stairs. Anything like that. A want is, I want a pool. I want a big yard because I want to set up a badminton set or a horseshoe rink or something like that. So those are wants. So you have to delineate between your needs and your wants. And typically as an agent, I'm going to get you all your needs and I'm going to try to get you as many wants as I can get. In addition to that, you've got, I need to know the number of bedrooms, bathrooms you want, how many garage spaces. If you've got mom and dad and 2 teenagers and the teenagers are to the point that they're going to be driving soon, do you want their cars in a garage? Do you need a place that you can park 4 cars on? Some HOAs will not let you park on the street, so you better have both garage and pad spaces in your driveway to park all of your cars. Other, multi-level versus single level. Elderly couples, they'd like to have a single level home so they don't have to negotiate going up and down stairs. Pool systems, school systems. If your kids are trying to get into a special school system, Hamilton I, for instance, in Chandler, you want to be in that area. Even though there's open enrollment in most of the schools in Arizona, that you can get in from anywhere, preference is given to somebody that lives in that school district. So if you're new to the area and Hamilton is where you want to go, or one of the Kyrene school districts schools is where you want to go, it's best to live in that district because they cannot deny you entry into that school. Whereas somebody from outside that district can apply. If they have open spots, they get in. So that's another thing. Activities, locations. Do you need to be close to work because you want to cut down on your commute? Do you need to be, are you an outdoor family? Do you need to be in your hiking, mountain biking trails, fishing, after school activities, hockey, anything like that? All of those things go into determining, excuse me, where I'm going to look for your home. Once I get up all of that information for you, I'm going to set up an MLS search on the multiple listing system for you based on those criteria. I'm going to have that set up so that comes basically once a month, once a week, or once a day, depending on where you're at in the process. If you're 6 months out, once a week is fine. If you're a year out, have that come once a month just to give you a kind of a education on what's happening on the local market. When you're within 3 months of buying, I want to have that come to you once a day. All right, that's very imperative that you see what's happening on the market. Typically, homes in the area now, especially in the Southeast Valley in Maricopa County, we have between 1.2 and 1.7 months of inventory, which is very low inventory. That means it's a seller's market. When homes come on the market in the $200,000 to $350,000, $400,000 range, and they're in great shape and they're priced right, we're seeing them hit the market within 4 to 5 days, having multiple offers and typically going over list price. So being aware of what's coming on the market, and if something comes on the market on Tuesday and you call me and say, I really like this home and I want to see it on Saturday, I'm going to laugh at you and say, no, get in your car now and we'll go see now, because that's what's happening in the local market. Things are moving very, very fast. Back to the MLS. You're going to get this information. It is directly to the MLS. It's what I, as a realtor, uses to do my searching. So it's far better and much more accurate than Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, or any of the other third-party sites. I mean, it gives you access literally to all of the data that I see. So you look at that, you're going to tag it. There's places in there where you can mark your favorites, and I get to see those. When you want to see them, you can either tag them that way via the MLS sheets that I send you, or you can send me an email with the MLS number and the address, and then I will find out, is the home vacant? What's the current story on it? Do they have any offers? When can we go see it? And I'll set up and schedule a time that we can go see that. Once we find the home that is right for you, when you walk into the home, hopefully we'll be doing enough of the MLS reviews that you kind of got an idea on what the market is and what the features are and what the selling prices are. Once you walk into that perfect home, you're going to kind of know. My clients that I've in the past, when they walk into that home, they're looking around and they're going, yeah, this is my home, this is my home, this is my kitchen, this is my backyard, this is my garage, this is my man cave. You kind of know, and I see it a lot. So once we find that house that we know is the one that you want to put an offer on, I'm going to run a quick comp on an evaluation and tell you how close I think that that the price that the listing agent has for that home and whether or not it's a good price. Again, in the $200,000 to $450,000 range in the Southeast Valley of Maricopa County, so that's Tempe, Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, in that area, we're very low inventory right now. So it's a seller's market. Things are going fast and they're going for typically over list price. Once we find that, I'm going to tell you whether or not the price is close and what we should offer. If it's a hot property, I may suggest you offer over list price on the thing, just if you have to have that home. Be understanding that if we do offer more than list price, you may have to have some cash in the bank sitting on the side, because if we offer more than list, say it's $375,000 and we offer $380,000 and the house appraises for $375,000, we're going to try to find a way to meet in the middle with the seller. Either he comes down, you go up a little, or you go up all the way if you really want the house with that extra $5,000. So that's a way to ensure that you get the piece of property that you want, your dream home. Once the offer is accepted, then we've got some things that we have to do. Once the offer is accepted, the first thing we have to do within 24 hours of acceptance, you need to have a check for 1% of the purchase price into the title company that we pick for you as earnest money. That holds the contract in place and keeps everybody else from jumping in line in front of you. So if it's a $300,000 property, that's $3,000 that you're going to write a personal check for that goes and sits with the title company to hold the contract open. Once we have that earnest money in, 10 days from the acceptance of the contract, we have to do a home inspection. I'll recommend some home inspectors to you that I worked with before. They're going to come in, they're going to check every feature of the house, electrical outlets, heating, cooling, wash. They're not going to check washer and dryer, but they're going to check literally plumbing issues, sinks, drains, garbage disposals, the AC temperature splits to make sure the AC is working right. They're going to climb up on the roof and check the roof. They're going to look inside the attic. They're going to look everything on your home. At the same time, we'll get a termite inspection done. They're going to give us back a report that's very detailed, and then in the executive summary of that, we're going to have a list of things that the home inspector deems worthy of further investigation. If at that time there's an electrical issue, plumbing issue, air conditioning issue, or a roofing issue, within that 10-day window, we've got to then get one of those specialists out to take a look at that to find out if there's anything else. There's two places in the home buying process that you have the ability to back out of the deal without losing your earnest money. One is during the home inspection process. If we find something in that inspection process that makes you think that you don't want this home because of something that comes up, you can back out legally there and get all your earnest money back. The second place is appraisal. If the house doesn't appraise for what the list price is or what we've offered, unless we know that we've offered more than list, and we're going to come up with cash to make that spread up. If the house doesn't appraise, then that is another area where you can back out as long as we don't waive the appraisal contingency in the contract. Once the inspection is done, we're going to send in a BINSR, buyer inspection notice, and we're going to tell the sellers what we want fixed. The seller could come back and say, we will fix all of them, we will fix none of them, or we will fix some of those. When they've got 5 days once we turn that in to respond to us with that information, and then we've got to determine whether or not you're willing to go forward with that based on what their response is to the things that we've objected to based on the condition of their homes. Assuming that stage of the process gets done, we tell them what we want fixed, they've agreed to fix it, or they've agreed to allow you money towards closing costs to help offset those repairs so they don't have to undertake them. Once we all agree on that, then the next phase is the appraisal. Once we get past the appraisal process, if it appraises for what we've offered, great. If it appraises for more than what you've offered, perfect. You've got instant equity. If it appraises for less than what we've offered or what the list price is, then there's that negotiation phase to come up and determine if the seller's going to come down and we're going to come up a little, or you're going to cover the whole spread with cash out of pocket because you really want the house. Once all that's done, basically the only thing that's left to do is the pre-closing walkthrough. Technically, 3 days before the close of the contract, before everything is done and final and you get the keys, we're going to take one final walk through the house. We're going to make sure that all of the inspections that the seller has agreed upon are completed and done, and they will usually either, if they haven't sent me receipts for all of the work that's done via email already, they're going to have the receipts there during the pre-closing walkthrough for us to review, and we're going to check over everything to make sure those things have been corrected to your satisfaction. Once that's done, then the next thing to do is anytime in that last final week there, you can sign all the paperwork at the title company. Everything goes through. Once the pre-closing walkthrough is done, I send a document back to the seller's agent that says we approve the house as is. And then the next thing we have to do is wait for the closing day. Once closing day rolls around, assuming everything else is signed and up to date, title company will submit that to Maricopa County. The Maricopa County Recorder's Office will get that paperwork and record it, and they will put the deed to that piece of property in your name. Once I get notification that the deed is recorded, you get the keys. So I can hand you the keys, and sometimes it can happen at 10 in the morning, sometimes it happens at 4:30 or 5 o'clock at night. But in either way, that's when you can take possession of the property. I can't get you access to the property beforehand unless the seller agrees, and 99.9% of the time, the seller isn't going to agree to give you the keys to the property beforehand because they still own it, not you. Once you own it, then that's a whole different story. One last thing to remember is as you are pre-qualified and pre-approved for the loan, once that comes in, during the process, I have to give the seller and the listing agent what's called an LSU, a loan status update, a couple times along the way during this process. That's where your lender is going to go through, look at your file again to make sure nothing's changed. It's going through underwriting, and once we get the clear to close from underwriting, then everything's good. The only thing that could mess that up is, and we've seen it happen, you're excited, you got a new house, you move from an apartment to a bigger house, double the square footage. You want to go buy furniture. You go out, you put money on a credit card, you get all this furniture ready to go and it's ready to move in. If you do that and you charge it to your credit card, that changes the whole game, and you could lose the house and your earnest money deposit because you bought something and it changed your debt to income ratio. Whatever you do not buy the new furniture. Do not buy the washer and dryer unless you're paying cash for it. Do not buy that new Harley Davidson because now you got a garage that you can park that Harley in. Do not do that. I've seen it happen to one of my clients who decided to buy a truck. He was going to pay cash for it and decided that he would finance $6,000 of that truck instead of paying all cash for it because he wanted the money for something else. That delayed us almost 2.5 months on the closing of that home, and it was a good thing that we caught it early enough in that the seller was willing to let us get by with that, that we closed on the home and everything was good. So don't buy anything, new cars, new trucks, furniture, anything else. No changes to your credit, no charges, no nothing that's going to affect your debt to income ratio. Please do not do that. You will be disappointed. I will be disappointed. The seller will be disappointed. And we'll all go away with a very bad taste in our mouth. So keep your credit clean. Don't do that. So wrapped it up. Again, this is Mark Phillips with Real Talk on Real Estate, bringing you the home buying process from a 50,000 foot level. Again, there's multiple details in here that I'll go over, like the home inspection process. I just whizzed over it here. I'm going to go through that in detail, what that takes. I've got video of that with my favorite home inspector going through and inspecting homes. The appraisal process, what happens there. All along the way, I'm going to have some more detailed versions of videos of different aspects of the home buying process. Contracts, everything else, state law. So I'm going to go over that. We'll see that coming up in other videos. Again, if you like this video, please like it on Facebook, like it on YouTube, follow me on YouTube and Facebook, subscribe to me on YouTube. If you know anybody who's in the market for a home, buying, selling, or investing, I'd be honored if you'd throw my name out there. If you're looking at buying a home, whether it's a primary home, investment home, or you need to sell a home, please let me know. I'd be honored, again, to help you. Again, Mark Phillips with Real Talk on Real Estate. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.